Happy Monday. Let's begin today's Monday marketing. Price manipulation. Yay. So, some news for this week. The headlines have been sharing kind of accusations that Google's AI is increasing prices at checkout versus what someone could see on their own. Now, Google says, no, right? We're not. But there might be upsells or other offers or items like that that make the final price larger than the base price that someone might see. So, me, there's really two issues in this. One is what the conversation in the news is. Is Google raising these prices or not? Is AI agentic price manipulation a thing, a feature? Is it going to be a feature? Which is a real concern. Even if it's upselling, how does the agent know what you want to upsell with and what package you just want basic? Um, to me, the second issue is marketing generally and upselling and online pricing. Pricing online is horrendous because people who are setting the prices online manipulate human psychology. And one of that is upselling. The best time to offer an upsell is when they are already in the purchase project process because they are already geared to spend money. And so, oh, what's $10 more? Oh, what's $20 more? It is very easy to manipulate people to spend more money with upselling at checkout. And sometimes, and I don't want to say there's never a good use case for that. To me, looking at it and the examples that I've seen, I very much appreciate it when it's the kind of add-ons to make the thing work or to make the thing easier to use. So let's say you're buying, let's say, for example, the microphone that Punch bought me. Very nice microphone, but it was just the microphone. It didn't come with an arm. It didn't come with power, a cable. So having that kind of highlighted so that he could have purchased that all at the same time instead of opening it at Christmas and then needing to buy all the things, that would be a good use case, in my opinion, for upselling. Now, maybe even better is just have everything come in the box, but I get, like Roz is saying with the cables, I feel like electronics less and less often are coming with cables under the assumption that people are replacing parts and might not need the new cable. And I understand that. Having some backup cables is nice. Having infinite backup cables, we might not need all that in our lives. But that, to me, that's all a good use case of upselling and being like, this does not come with the USB. This does not come with this kind of converter. So if you need this to work, it needs this to work. So if you do not have one, you should get one. That totally makes sense to me. Despise is a strong word, but I go to a lot of marketing webinars, marketing seminars, marketing workshops, marketing classes I pay for. And the upsells on that usually drive me crazy. as well as the freebies, right? These are people who live and breathe sales letters. They try to throw in all this added value, which is a bunch of ebooks or web, backlog of data that you're never going to go through. Let's all be honest. Nobody has 50 hours of extra time to go through your old backlog of content. That is not an upsell. That is like emotional baggage that you're trying to sell someone and guilt that you're trying to sell someone that they got and will never use. Again, also with the free, free access to all this stuff. But like, it's just a gimmick. It's just a gimmick to try to convince people that they're getting more value, even though they will never use it. And it drives me batty. It might be like that example we've partnered with Pack to bring you something. I don't know that particular example, but it sounds like something like that. Like as part of this class, you get all these things. No. Um, Especially when it is multiple pages. There was one I attended recently. I got the VIP package immediately. There were items in there, cash value. Um, that was worth it, right? But then they try to upsell me, this and that and the other with videos and like separate landing pages. And one of them was even like the same item. It was like, oh, you just clicked past this, but we really want you to pay attention to this. No, I said no. Let's let's just move on with our lives. So, um, that's an issue, right? How is an AI agent going to manipulate through all that really obnoxious marketing? Because there'll probably be a kickback involved if they do. ChatGPT is now having ads, so, nothing is safe. Uh, the other issue from a marketing standpoint is the general price manipulation in e-product, especially products that are like, I don't know what the right word is, but there's like the wholesale kind of person, and then people create stores using those products, but just saying like, giving it their own logo or whatever, but it's all the same product and it's all the same price. Um, but part of the psychology is to give it a larger price point and then offer it at like a 70% discount. So people are like, oh, it's 70% off. I'm saving $30. Yeah, I should buy this. Even though it will actually never be at that full price. That drives me crazy too. Like, what's the passage in scripture? Let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. Let your price be your price. Okay, guys, like, can we just stop all of this? So, how are AI agents going to work with that kind of psychology? Um, is it going to offer the full price, the discounted price? Do these resellers ever list it at the full price? And then only like 90% of the time have it down? Because if they sometimes list it at the full price, maybe the AI agents will buy it at the full price and then they'll make more money. Shopping is a pain. Shopping is a pain. All right. I think that's all I have to say about that point, but that was a lot because it really grinds my gears. Fact is an ebook publisher, a prolific, the Python wiki had to adopt a policy regarding them since they were more than half of all books listed on the wiki. Yeah, well, if that's who everybody uses, I guess that's, yeah, gonna be the way that it is, huh? Alright, the AI gaps. So, I had a conversation last week with a great guy who will hopefully be coming out this week. Um, and that'll be shared on LinkedIn and my website about why there is such a big gap sometimes in terms of expectation and reality with AI. So, use and outcome, consumer and business, employee and owner, what the owner kind of wants and expects, what the employee is doing with it, how individuals are using it, but how they want businesses to use it, um, how businesses want to use it, and what the actual outcomes are. And understandably, as part of that conversation, the gap often came from misunderstanding, misinformation, and then also fear based decisions, which I really like that one. And I see that really in use and outcome and employee and owner. Owners, HR are really mandating a lot of AI usage. I think it was Steven who brought up once about people asking employees about AI use as a means of evaluating whether they're good workers or not. And I've seen this now in a couple job applications where people want you to outline how well you can use AI, um, which as a millennial, I find very strange. Much in the way that I found it strange when people ask, like, what's your Microsoft Office ability? Now, part of that is like it's Microsoft Office. I've used it in every class of my life for the past 30 years. Like, what do you mean? What is my usage? But kind of the same with AI. Like, A, how do you define AI? B, what is my goal? I use AI daily because I use computers daily. This question makes no sense. So to me, there's a huge disconnect in terms of how people talk and understand about things. And that creates a lot of AI failure and a lot of AI mistrust. Rightfully so. Because if we're not engaging with ethics and good use and what the actual ability of computers are, we should remain skeptical about it until people know what they're doing. The fear-based decisions also coming up in that use and outcome thing. Business owners are scared of being left behind, and they're being told if they don't use AI, they will be left behind. But nobody tells them what you actually use AI for, how you actually use it responsibly, how you create a flyer that doesn't look the same as everyone else's flyer. That drives me crazy. It drives me crazy enough that I made a post about it on my personal LinkedIn. My business owner friends all thought very funny. But we need to get on the same page. Not necessarily in how we feel about AI. There's always going to be differences with people who love technology and love computers and people who don't like computers and don't like, you know, Punch uses Notepad instead of Word, right? No, he's never going to use generative unless being forced to. Other people love it and are going to constantly. And that's their prerogative. What's important is having a conversation where we're all using the same terms, same way. So we need to start saying generative AI. We mean generative AI, agentic AI when we mean agentic AI. Maybe we just stop using AI if we only mean automation, right? Degenerate AI, most of it, probably by volume it is, unfortunately. But I think that would really help clarify instead of just this mass conversation about all artificial intelligence. Because I mean, to me, it's so broad. Any computer program, you've heard me say this before, any sufficiently advanced computer program, it is artificial intelligence. Anytime I try to automate my event on LinkedIn and it doesn't work, that's AI. And there are, different people are going to use AI in different ways. But if we want to be successful at AI, we have to name what AI is, name what success is, and work towards that end. Okay? Everything has to be oriented towards the right goal. It's teleology. If you're oriented towards the right goal, if you're using AI and you have a set expectation of what your goal is, what the quality of the output should be, and you take the time to work with it and train with it, you'll be fine. Right? But people just use buzzwords and it's not clear what the expectations or the goals are other than make more money. And then things fall apart. This is once again my appeal to be clear. All right. An LLM is a more sophisticated version of the very old Associated Press algorithm, but somehow one of those is an algorithm and one is AI. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't heard of Dissociated Press, but I mean, obviously an LLM had to come from somewhere. And even though generating text is obviously very different from a Google search trying to find the information on the web, there are a lot of similarities in terms of searching the Google algorithm for the answer that you want, searching chatbot AI the answer that you want. Just want one in conversation and one in a set of links. So, know what your goals are. There's the takeaway. Know your goals. Use whatever tools you make sense to reach that goal. Not that complicated. All right. Onboarding. Part of this, also just trying to clarify what it's like working with a copywriter, working with another marketer. Because I do hear this question from, my small business owners who've always done things on their own. Or if not, they've probably just used like a friend who's really good at writing. Which, no offense to them, they probably are really good at writing. But, different when you're working with a quote unquote professional, which just means someone who calls themselves a copywriter. There's no degree, there's no certification that like proves it. There are degrees, there are certifications, but it's not government mandated. You're just a copywriter. You're just an SEO person. So again, it all starts with that goal. When you're working with a professional outsider, whether an agency, a marketer, or whatever, they have to understand what the goal for your business is. So the first meeting before working together, you get on that same page. What does your business do? What do you want it to do? What do you want it to look like in 5 years? Then you can come up with a plan. You approve the plan, you approve the budget, start working, and they do the research about, again, about those goals, about what your customer, about what your competition is doing, what is a good content strategy for that goal, how do you get the whole journey, and then the writing, then the execution, right? It is far less scary than it probably seems, and copywriters, SEO agencies, they want to take the things off your plate. They don't want you to do things. No. You want to make sure that it's laid out very clearly what they're going to do and what you're going to do, because you don't want to be stepping on feet. You don't want to be ignoring something that does need to get done. For the most part, a professional should lay it out clearly what they're going to be doing. Some sort of list, so you know. That's the brief of what an onboarding process is like. There's a questionnaire, an interview, and then they do their thing. And then when they're done, they let you know. So that is it for this week. Let's move on. Associated Press. Start with a large document. Take any consecutive word, find any document. Take the next word. That does sound like LLMs. Rinse and repeat with the 3 words in the file. This is at its heart exactly the same as an LLM. Yep, it is to figure out what the most likely next word is and outputs that. Absolutely. Predicative, right? That's the word for it. It predicts. When it generates that output, it is trying to predict the relevant response. It is not creating. I mean, from a very minimal part, it's creating, but big picture, it is not original. It is not aimed to be original. It is a robot. Beep boop. It's a massive amount of data and a huge number of matrix multiplications, but at its heart is autocomplete. Exactly, right? And that was a thought I had, a while ago. Because I do use autocomplete on my phone for the little text messages, because when you're moving about, it's quicker. It's like, man, have I just been training AI this whole time? Probably. Probably where Apple gets its AI information from me. Yes, you have. Yes. Darn it. Uh, oh well. Too late now. Okay. Well, everyone has a good week. This does not go on LinkedIn. I think I will give up on LinkedIn or just see about just going live, but probably use YouTube. And yeah, unfortunately, in February I'm supposed to have a LinkedIn live meeting. So hopefully I can get that worked out by then, if only through just the webcam and the mic. Just a conversation. I won't need slides. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. See you next week.